Welcome to Books on Air, the podcast that tells the story behind the book. It includes insights from authors about how they compose their work, what inspires them, and what they hope you'll take away from their book. Here's your host for this episode of Books on Air, Suzanne Harris.
Welcome to the Books on Air podcast. I'm Sloane Freemont, filling in for Suzanne Harris. This is a podcast where listeners get the secret story behind every book. Joining me today is Teresa Rowland, author of the book, Blusher's First Christmas. Teresa's book shares the story of a reindeer called Blusher, who has rosy red cheeks. Blusher's First Christmas is a story about the importance of friendship, being loved, and believing in yourself. So Trish, welcome to the Books on Air podcast. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, I'm happy to be here too.
Great. Well, let's start out maybe by telling the audience a little bit about yourself and how you came to write your book, Blusher's First Christmas.
I watch Christmas movies every year and I just love it. Mm-hmm. And I found that I just wanted something different. Mm-hmm. So one day, Blusher popped into my head. So I thought, oh, great. For quite a few years, she kept popping in. Mm-hmm. So one day I thought, she's adamant, she wants to be written.
Right.
So I sat down and started to write her. Mm-hmm. Blusher's always, Rudolph's got red nose. What's Blusher got? Rosy red cheeks. Mm-hmm. So I give her rosy red cheeks. Blusher loves everybody, so why not give her long ears, gangly legs, and all she does is fall over things. Nobody talks to her, really. The other guys and the other girls tie her ears up, things like that, and just mock her mainly.
Yeah. When you talk about the story wanting to be told almost, right, that Blusher kept coming to mind and the story just kept wanting to be told, that's such an interesting part of the creative process, how when a character comes to mind and the story forms from there. That's really, I think, an interesting part of the writing process.
It is actually, especially when I just love writing so kids can have fun, so they can laugh.
Right.
I do silly noises with quite a few of my books, and I just like kids to have something different. And I felt that out there. There was nothing different. So I thought, okay, we'll have Blusher, we'll have girls. And I didn't know then that there's no all-girl reindeers. Mm. So I decided, okay, I'll have all the girls. And so I thought that'll be great. How can I get Mrs. Claus into this?
Right.
So then it's a case of, all right, what happens? Before Christmas, Santa has to fix the roof. So I thought, hey, Santa, go on the roof.
Yeah, so it sounds like you brought in some familiar characters, but you had a completely, different story, which is what you were looking for, to be able to have, something new and different when it comes to a Christmas story.
Yes, and then I thought, oh, well, how can Santa get hurt? Not, horribly. Mm-hmm. So fall off the roof. That's the logic part. Everybody falls off roofs. So I thought, okay, he's fallen off roof. Mrs. Claus, what's she going to do? It's a couple of days before Christmas or day before Christmas. So then Santa tells her that there's Blusher from Rudolph. Mm-hmm. So, okay, I have to find Blusher. She thinks, okay, where is this child?
Right. And then the story continues. We don't want to give the full book away, but we just want to give.
Oh, no. Yeah, I just get so
some of the highlights. So
it,
tell us what some of your favorite parts of the book were that you got to write about. Like, what did you enjoy writing about the most? But maybe we could also talk about some of the themes that you would use to describe your book. Like, what were some of the themes that you wanted kids reading the book to walk away with?
There are all types of people, animals in the world, and we all have problems. Same as everything else. Mm-hmm. So we all have hang-ups. We all need to know who we are and what we are and where our place is in life. Mm-hmm. And I find with Blusher, she is just such a lovely reindeer that she helps everybody overcome their problems. Mm-hmm. You got Miss Bumble, who's an old reindeer, and she always has a go at everybody. We have a young reindeer boy. He takes the girls and he says, you're cowards. You won't go outside the zone because you're not allowed to, and you're cowards. So he edges them on to go further than they're supposed to. And they get lost. And all of a sudden, they open up into a nice hill, and on top of this hill, there's this beautiful rainbow. It's just there. And they look at it and then they step forward and end up going down a hill. So they're tumbling over and tumbling over. Then they both get so entangled with each other that Dumpy apologizes, and she's so upset and she's so sad that she's hurt Blusher. So what happens is Blusher just laughs. It says it's fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Look at
it happens, right? So it's like showing
happens.
the example of, how friends interact with each other, right? If an accident happens, it happens. And then you get up and you laugh it off and you move on. Sounds like that's one of the
and they do
themes.
that.
Yeah.
They do that. And it's okay. I'm fine. Let's go and explore. And they just walk and they just have fun. And then all of a sudden, darkness descends. And it's like, wow, we better get home, So then they've got to find their way home. And Dumpy's saying, how can we find our way home? It's dark. We can't go anywhere. So Blusher says, yes, we can. So all of a sudden, her rosy red cheeks, they start to just glow. And they can see for miles.
Oh,
yeah. So they start walking home. And another aspect of the book is that at this stage, Rudolph is at the North Pole and he's very sick. And so he stays with his friend. So what happens then is that Dumpy and Blusher are trying to find their way home. And all of a sudden, across the sky, there's this spirit of Rudolph.
Oh, okay.
So Rudolph is there and he's calling them to come follow. So they follow him home, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of lessons here that are, great for kids, right? With not giving up or doing things that maybe you think you can't do. And then relationships to friends, right? When mistakes are made, you can get up and you can move on, right? You don't have to dwell on them. So it sounds like a lot of great themes and messages for kids from your book.
Yeah, I like to leave with, be nice to people. Be honest. Don't mock people.
Exactly. Having those reminders are always really important. Who would you say your book would appeal to and why?
Actually, a whole range of people. People like me likes reading things like this as well. But there's also, you can read to your baby. You can read to your children growing up. I don't think there isn't a range that won't like it.
Yeah, the themes are universal. All of the things that we're talking about are universal throughout all humans, the human experience. Before we close out today, what's one thing you'd like to leave the readers with to make sure they know about your book?
It's a book that you can enjoy, and you can talk about the different problems that people have or children have, especially with children, because like my granddaughter's got a little bit more bigger ears, but she's beautiful. Your imperfections are who you are. So enjoy who you are, be proud of who you are, and always stand up for what you believe.
Yeah. I love that. It's a great message. It's a perfect message. My guest this week has been Trish Rowland, author of the book, Blusher's First Christmas. And Trish, again, thank you for joining us today and being our guest on Books on Air.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You can find more about the book, Blusher's First Christmas, on Amazon, and I'll include the link in the show notes. You've been listening to the Books on Air podcast, brought to you on webtalkradio.net. You can also hear this podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Sloane Freemont, and I hope you'll join us for the next Books on Air podcast. Remember, you never know who's going to be here, and you never know what we're going to talk about. Thank you so much for listening.